Once upon a time, in a quiet village near the edge of a vast, dark forest, there lived a poor woodcutter. He had 2 children, a boy named Hansel and a girl named Gretel. Their mother had died many years before, and the woodcutter had since remarried. His new wife was harsh and unkind, especially the children. Though the family lived in a modest cottage, their home was full of silence and hunger. The woodcutter worked hard, but they often did not have enough to eat. Each evening, the children went to bed with empty stomachs, whispering to each other in the dim candlelight. One winter, a terrible famine spread across the land. Food became even scarcer, and the stepmother grew more bitter. One night, as the children lay awake, they heard the stepmother speak sharply to their father. "We cannot feed them anymore," she said. "Tomorrow, we must take them deep into the forest and leave them there." Hansel's eyes widened. He held Gretel's hand. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I'll find a way to bring us back." That night, under the pale light of the moon, Hansel quietly crept outside. He filled his pockets with small white pebbles that sparkled faintly in the darkness. The next morning, the stepmother gave them each a small piece of bread and led them into the woods. As they walked, Hansel dropped the pebbles behind him, one by one. They walked for hours, far beyond where they had ever gone before. Eventually, the stepmother stopped by a large tree. "Rest here," she said coldly. "We will return soon." And then she disappeared into the forest. Hansel and Gretel waited. Birds sang and the sun slowly dipped below the trees. When the moon rose, the pebbles shimmered under its glow. "Look," said Hansel, "we can follow the stones home." And so they did. Step by step, through the cold night air, they retraced their path. When they reached the cottage, their father was overjoyed, but the stepmother was not pleased. She scolded them but said nothing more, at least for a while. Days passed, and once again, the pantry grew empty. One evening, the children overheard the same dreadful plan. Hansel tried to sneak out, but the door was locked. So instead of pebbles, he broke his bread into tiny crumbs and slipped them into his pockets. The next morning, they were led even deeper into the woods. Hansel dropped crumbs behind him as they walked, but birds followed closely, pecking at the crumbs, leaving no trail behind. When the sun set and the trees became shadows, the children realized they were truly lost. Still, they walked. Through twisted roots and whispering trees, through patches of moonlight and endless silence. After many hours, they came upon a clearing, and in it stood a most curious house. Its walls were made of gingerbread, its windows of sugar, and the roof of frosting. "It's a house made of sweets," Gretel said softly. Hungry and tired, they began to nibble. Hansel broke a piece of candy from the doorframe, and Gretel tasted a sugar pane. Suddenly, the door creaked open. A voice, soft but strange, called out, "Who is nibbling at my house?" Out stepped an old woman. Her eyes were small and dark, her smile wide but without warmth. "Come in, dear children," she said. "You must be so tired." Inside, the house was warm and filled with food. There were cakes, fruits, and warm soup. Hansel and Gretel ate gratefully and soon fell asleep on But the old woman was not as kind as she seemed. She was a witch, and she had built the sweet house to lure hungry children. The next morning, Hansel awoke to find himself locked in a cage. Gretel was forced to cook and clean. Each day, the witch demanded food and checked if Hansel had grown fat enough to eat. But Hansel was clever. Knowing that the witch could not see well, he held out a small bone instead of his finger. "Still too thin," the witch grumbled. Days passed. Gretel pretended to obey while looking for a chance to save her brother. Then, one morning, the witch snapped. "Enough! Today I will feast," she said. "Gretel, heat the oven." Gretel walked to the oven and asked, "How do I know if it's hot enough?" "Foolish girl," the witch growled. "Watch me, I'll show you." She leaned into the oven, and in that moment, with all her strength, Gretel pushed the witch inside and slammed the door shut. The flames roared, the witch screamed, and then silence. Gretel rushed to Hansel's cage and unlocked it. He stepped out, smiling with joy. Together, they searched the house and found chests of gold and jewels. With their arms full, they left the gingerbread house and made their way back through the forest. This time, they were not afraid. Birds sang above them, and the trees seemed to guide their steps. After many days, they found their home again. Their father ran to them with tears in his eyes. The cruel stepmother was gone, and peace had returned to the cottage. Hansel and Gretel shared their treasure, and from that day forward, they were never hungry again. They lived in warmth and joy, remembering the lessons of the forest. And at night, when the stars glowed above, they whispered their story to the wind, hoping it might reach those who still wandered in search of kindness and light. Thank you for listening to Calm Voice Stories. May your dreams be gentle and your heart be calm. Good night.